with coverage you can count on. This is WNEMTV5 News.
Good morning, happy Tuesday, and thanks for joining us for TV5 Wake-Up. I'm Blake Keller.
And I'm Sierra Cersei. Today is a very special day. Today is Election Day right here in mid-Michigan.
And more than 1 million Michiganders already cast their vote for today's primary. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says 78,000 people taking part in early in-person voting, which was offered for the first time in state history. More than 927,000 voting with an absentee ballot.
Absentee voter numbers up from 882,000 in 2020, despite expectations of low early voter turnout.
A lot of voters are saying, well, it looks like it's going to be Biden and Trump, so why should I bother voting?
Current Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is hoping Michigan will swing in her direction. Despite losing her home state, South Carolina, she vowed to stay in the race, making 2 campaign stops right here in Michigan, one in Oakland County on Sunday and the other in Grand Rapids yesterday.
And so it may be an uphill battle for President Joe Biden, too, as some in the Democratic Party are calling on each other to vote uncommitted for the presidential nomination because of Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war.
If we see 10 or 20% of the voters do that, that'll be significant, I think.
And it seems our votes in the presidential selection process are more important this year. There's more weight to it because our primary was moved up.
Again, this year it looks like in many ways things are kind of predetermined, the way things are falling in place right now at least. But I think the fact that we've got an early primary is going to be critical for Michigan in the future and really make us a more important and more significant state.
Michigan is now 8th contest during primary season and the last before Super Tuesday next week.
And of course, there's more on the ballot than just the presidency. So before you head to the polls today, we want to make sure that you know everything you're voting for. TV5's Lauren Piesco, with the help of political experts and county clerks, simplifying the sometimes complex election day jargon.
It's time to hit the polls, but do you even know or understand what you're voting for? Many times when voters don't understand what's on the ballot, they just tend to vote no, and that can lead many proposals to fail. So let's break down what you need to know this election day and some terms you're going to see on the ballot.
First, let's talk millage renewals.
So a millage is basically an approval of a property tax, often for schools or local governments, police, other local activities in most cases. The renewals are important because, I mean, they are not an increase in taxes, but the law does require that they be renewed periodically. But again, local governments are worried about the fact that if a renewal fails, they could find themselves very short of revenue for the next year.
Next, sinking funds.
Sinking fund is money set aside. It will gradually be reduced over time as it's spent for certain purposes. Very commonly a building project, but it could be other things as well.
And finally, bond proposals.
A bond proposal allows a local government to borrow money, and again, that requires voter authorization. So again, in order to borrow a certain amount of money, the voters have got to give their okay.
I asked Professor Rozicki and county clerks in mid-Michigan, why is it so important for voters to pay attention to the proposals on their ballot?
Very often local voters are confused, and maybe the risk is if they're confused, they often vote no.
Sinking funds and bond proposals and millages, we're going to see a lot of that here in Genesee County in our May ballot and our August ballot. And there is a lot of confusion around that. So we always encourage voters to do their research, both on the proposals and on the candidates.
Early voting also got off to a slow start across Michigan with overall low turnout, especially in Saginaw County.
It's new. A lot of voters are unaware, but we did mail a postcard to every registered voter in Saginaw County, so lots of voters are bringing those in, and I think that'll get significant use come August and November.
We are expecting a lower turnout than what we'll see in a November election, but from what our trends we've seen in the early vote as well as the mail-in vote, we are seeing solid returns of election results, and it's very important that regardless of what people think, that we do get everyone out to vote. Every election is super important.
And remember, if you're not registered to vote, you still have time to do so until 8 o'clock tonight.
And we just want to make sure that they have the opportunity to vote in the primary. And this is what actually, allows it when you make that ballot selection. And so I tell people, hey, if you don't have it, come in, you can register, fill out your application and vote all in the same day. You can even register on the same day and vote.
For help finding voting sites near you, just visit our website at WNEM.com. Reporting in Flint Township for TV5, I'm Lauren Piesco.
And a reminder from Flint on changes to voter precincts. Listen to this and listen closely. The number of precincts has now changed from 58 and has been reduced to 29. Mayor Sheldon Neely is saying that all voters, you should have gotten a new registration card with your precinct information on it.
If you need a ride to the polls, Saginaw's bus system Stars is offering free rides on all fixed routes for voters. Lyft rides are free for gold card holders. The polls are open at 7 this morning until 8 tonight. If you are in line by 8 with an empty ballot, you still have the right to vote.
If you still need to return your absentee ballot, listen closely. Don't mail it in. Take it straight to your local city or township clerk's office or drop it in the drop box. Be sure to stay here with us, TV5, for continuing coverage on today's election.
So if voting is on your agenda today or you're headed to work or school, you can already feel the warmth out there.
Yeah, we're loving the warmth. So First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro is here with us to first alert us to what we need to know for our Tuesday.
And for our Tuesday, if you are heading out to the polls early this morning when they first open, you may encounter a couple of raindrops if you're farther south of Saginaw or even around Birch Run this morning. We still have just a very isolated shower that's been moving right between Owasso, or about to move between Owasso and Chesaning over M52. Outside of this, though, the rest of the area is dry. On your First Alert Pinpoint Doppler, our best chance of storms still comes in tonight. We're giving you the first alert to an updated time frame here, now 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's the new time frame. It's about 2 hours later than our time frame in the forecast from yesterday morning and afternoon. Temperatures right now still very warm in Saginaw, 55, 56 in Flint, 32 though in West Branch. Temperatures highly varied right now, but everybody into the upper 60s this afternoon. We are going to be setting some new high temperature records. With the overall dry weather we've been seeing, though, your live on time traffic map sponsored by Mid-Michigan Toyota dealers has been in pretty good shape for us. All around Mid-Michigan, drive times are looking decent. In southern Grand Blanc Township, we still have a report of animals on the road near Saginaw Road and Baldwin Road, so just something to look out for there. But towards Lansing, no issues on I-69, and if you're traveling towards Metro Detroit, 23 and 75 are pretty nice shape as well. Sierra, Blake, over to you.
All right, Matthew, thank you. Well, we have an update for you this morning on the Flint toddler who accidentally shot herself on Valentine's Day. Some good news for all of us. She is no longer in critical condition. Sky McBride's aunt telling us here at TV5 she's now in stable condition and is able to answer questions by nodding her head yes and shaking her head no. She also says that Sky is set to have eye surgery Friday. Her father still facing multiple charges under Michigan's new gun safety storage laws. The family has a GoFundMe page set up with to help with those medical bills. If you would like to help little Sky, go to the hot link section of our website, WNEM.com. Well, the restoration of the dams that failed in 2020 could be at risk. The Four Lakes Task Force says a claim of appeal was filed in the Midland Circuit Court. Many people outraged at the estimated jump in their yearly costs thanks to the more than $217 million needed to fix the dams. The task force says that it would be best to have the appeal closed by the end of April. Anything longer will affect the cost and completion date.
If you're up with us, TV5 News Time, 6:39.
A new plan for clean energy and climate action in Michigan. Everything the bold energy plan hopes to accomplish. Here's your live look over downtown Flint. Pretty empty, not too much to see. Here's your on-time traffic brought to you by your Mid-Michigan Toyota dealers. We'll check in with Matthew. He has your forecast in 2 minutes.